Hey guys, today we're looking at the 7artisans 12mm f2.8 for the Fuji X mount. This is a wide-angle lens and one of the most compact lenses in its focal range actually. The lens consists of 10 elements in 8 groups and has a price tag of only $188 US at the time of this filming. This lens is a nice addition to this area of inexpensive wide-angle lenses currently with the likes of Rokinon and some of the other Chinese competitors. A lens like this can capture dramatic wide-open shots, perfect for landscape, architecture, or even subjects at times. The 7artisans 12mm f2.8 lens provides an equivalent 18mm focal length on an APS-C sensor. I took this lens through my rigorous lens rating system, which covers the goods for all the pixel peeping you may need, while also providing my overall experience using the lens, from its construction to its focusing ability, bokeh, and overall usefulness of its sharpness level. So let's see if the 7artisans 12mm lens is actually worth the money. So I'm going to skip the unboxing because I already opened this, but just a quick review of the hardware that you do get. You get the traditional 7artisans box that they send for all of them, so no surprise there. And other reviewers already showed you what's in here. There's plenty of padding in here in case you're wondering. And you do get the paperwork that goes inside. So if you're interested in that, you can check out some of the other reviews. I'm interested in the lens here. So here's the lens itself. One thing that stands out right away is definitely the cap. This cap here is special and it is built for just this lens. With this kind of setup in the front, you're going to have some trouble mounting UV filters. Although it is still possible, I've seen it done by other reviewers. You're still going to have to do a little bit of searching in order to find something that fits. The lens hood is part of the body, so you'll not be able to take that off. But other than that, you do get beautiful front lens element here. Not bad at all. And you get a beautiful lens finish as well. Very nice paint job here. The letters are very clear and easy to read. The rings are very smooth actually, just like in all the other 7artisans lenses. And you do get a clickless aperture ring in the bottom, which actually makes it a little hard to take the lens on and off from the camera as it spins. The bottom of the lens is all metal, and you get the smaller rear lens element there. So this one in particular is for the Fuji X mount. Overall, I'm extremely happy with the construction. This definitely feels solid in the hand. So that's good and all, but let's see how this lens can perform in the sharpness test. So let's start at f2.8. We get a nice area of sharpness in the center, although it's not incredibly sharp. It does get blurry as you go more towards off center there. And the corner is definitely blurry, especially down at the very edge of the corner. Let's see the other one. Yeah, very blurry at the very edge. If we bump up to f4, it's still blurry at the very edge, although it starts getting a little sharp here at this area of the corner, and the center is actually very sharp. So this is a good performance here in the center. At f5.6, the center again is very sharp here, and the corner is actually very blurry at the very edge, and same performance here. More in the inner edge is not as blurry. Let's move to f8. We start getting a little bit of blurriness, but maybe because of the refraction, but the very corner is still kind of blurry, and the center is probably not as sharp as in 5.6, but it's still very good. And in f11, it gets a little bit blurrier as well, and more noise because of the higher ISO. The corner is finally sharp though, but just a little bit softer all throughout because probably of the effects of refraction again there. So overall here, it is nicely sharp in the center. The corners remain a little bit blurry, especially at the very edge of the corner, but it is very usable sharpness in the center. And so that's actually pretty good. I would give this lens a 3.5 out of 5, just because those corners are not quite as nice, but they're not too bad either. So let's take a look at distortion now. I did notice a slight cushion distortion going on here. It is very slight. The lens actually does very well. This is at f2.8. It actually does very well in the distortion front, but I did see that cushion distortion very slight. You can still see the very straight lines throughout here. This is at f4, at f5.6. at f8 and f16. Yeah, just very slight cushion distortion, not bad at all. I was actually impressed by the performance of the distortion front here on this lens. So I would give it a 4.5 out of 5 because you can't tell too much that there's actually a little bit of distortion going on, and it just performs fairly well here. Now let's look at vignetting. There's a very slight vignette on all images. It's very slight and barely noticeable at times, but it is there. I would say that overall this lens has good performance here, and I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars because you can easily take it off in post if you really wanted to. Let's talk chromatic aberrations now. I saw very little of it, to say the truth. What you see more in this picture is actually a lens flare, but I'm looking at the chrome parts of this car for now, as is usually where I see chromatic aberrations due to the high contrasting areas. So if you look close, there's actually not much going on as far as chromatic aberrations. This lens does very well to mitigate that. If you go to the corner, that's where you see some purple fringing, which is where I will dock a few points because of that. Overall, however, this lens is doing great here. I give it a 4 out of 5 in this area. Now let's take a look at lens flaring. I saw very good results here too. The lens has a controlled, beautiful flare. With other lenses, I have to keep a very close watch on where the sun is, but I did not even think about my position when using this lens. Very few of my images were ruined because of my angle to the sun. I can tell that the design of the lens incorporates handling of this ghosting and lens flaring very well. In some cases, the flare looks like a pleasant addition to the image. I'm actually very pleased with this performance here. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 because I believe that the flaring is very good looking, but could incorporate better shapes as I did see the hexagon clearly in some cases. It would be great to see a perfect circle, for example. So now that we have all those tests out of the way, I want to answer how this lens worked out for me overall. The lens was sharp enough for me to use and actually like using. I did notice the lens was soft in the corners, but that didn't bother me too much because it was mostly the very edges of the corners. The bokeh is not as nice as I would have liked. I would have loved more bokeh in the background to actually blur it out, but you're not going to get that with this lens. However, I was really surprised by the up-close performance. You can really get close at around 6 to 8 inches from your subject and almost get a wide angle macro-ish kind of shot. The build quality was great on the lens. I was very happy with that. Focusing the lens was easy and a pleasure. I would have liked, instead of a clickless aperture ring, a clickable one, as I mostly do photography. And even if I do video work, sometimes I usually keep the aperture set. I don't move it around. Further, I would have also liked for the aperture ring to be moved as it spins while you're trying to take the lens on and off from the camera. Overall, I give this lens a 3.6 out of 5 on the overall user experience. The things to watch out here for are the bokeh. It's not enough and it's not as nice as I would have liked, and the aperture ring, as it can get annoying and fidgety. So overall score for this lens is a 3.9 out of 5. The sharpness is good enough for use. The price is just right at $188. Everything else with distortion, vignetting, and chromatic aberration, even lens flaring, the lens does great. So I'm happy to recommend this lens, especially for that price. As always, thanks for watching. I will be looking out for the next lens to test. Let me know what lens you'd like me to test. I will be creating a poll right here. Please cast your vote or put a comment down in the description, and I'll do my best to test the most popular choice. Thanks again for watching, and I'm out.